Hi, and welcome to Not Even Once.
I'm Seth, and I've never seen once.
And I'm Bob, and I've seen once twice. Welcome to our show where we go episode by episode through Once Upon a Time and talk about each episode, what's going on, and exactly how ridiculous this show gets, because it's very ridiculous.
Even on the episode 2, which we are on today, things are getting silly.
Things are getting loud.
Getting loud. This episode is titled what is it?
It's The Thing You Love Most.
Yes, The Thing You Love Most.
And it was directed by Greg Beeman, and it was written by the showrunners Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, and it originally aired on October 30th, 2011. So it's like a Halloween episode.
Gotcha.
Not intended as that, but that's what we got.
I'm sure in the future there will be a very special Halloween episode.
Stay tuned.
Okay. The first thing I noticed is that this time, as opposed to previous episode, there was on the
there's like screen, an actual opening?
Yeah, there was an actual opening, and there was a unicorn running by, which is different from before.
That's the standard thing. So, like,
okay.
every opening past the pilot, where it's just like, here's some text to know the pilot of the show.
Gotcha.
There's like a thing on the intro and everyone that like has some kind of relation to the episode, and some of them are a unicorn running, stuff like that. But yeah, that's one of the main things.
Gotcha. Then after that, it picks up basically right where the last episode left off.
Literally, I think it's the same shot of, like, Henry looking up at the CGI clock tower, seeing the clock go down, like, a minute and smiling, and then it, like, cuts to, I think, Emma in the inn, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Speaking of last time, what did happen is that we were introduced to all of our principal characters. Emma Swan is the daughter of Snow White and Prince Charming, who were put in a wardrobe,
a tree trunk. A tree trunk that Geppetto and Pinocchio made.
Into a wardrobe. They specifically called it a wardrobe several times. She was put into a wardrobe and was able to escape the curse put on the land by the evil queen, the same evil queen from Snow White. So that curse takes away all of their happy endings, and part of the curse is that it will be broken by Snow White's daughter after 28 years. And the last episode opens on her 28th birthday. And Henry brings her to Storybrooke, Maine, where everyone lives without knowledge of their past lives.
And we meet everyone. Geppetto and one of the 7 dwarves are now, like, auto shop guys. Sheriff is... You don't know who the sheriff is yet, but he is there. He was originally supposed to be Sherlock Holmes.
The sheriff is pretty.
It's Jamie Dornan. He's pretty. He's just pretty.
Yes. We have Granny and Red Riding Hood are there. We have...
Red Riding Hood, Scene Girl.
Yes, Scene Girl, Red Riding Hood. We stan.
She is going out to a rave, and her granny says, why are you going out this time of night? And it's
dressed
like not even night. It's like early evening.
We also have Jiminy Cricket is Archie, the therapist.
And who has one of the Dalmatians.
Yes. Is that actually one of the Dalmatians?
You know, honestly, I don't know if they ever actually say.
Okay.
It is a Dalmatian, but it's like, you know what? The reference is that it's one of the Dalmatians.
Gotcha. And then... Other than that, we met Rumpelstiltskin is Mr. Gold, and he owns the town. And Regina is the evil queen, and she is the mayor. Mm-hmm. I don't think there are any other major characters that we ran into.
I mean, Snow White and Prince Charming.
Yes.
But, like, yeah.
But that was last time. Now we open back on the clock, mm-hmm. and it starts moving, which passes time. Normally, like, just... It's time-lapse overnight in any other type of show, but this one, it really has more significance because time has unpaused. I guess Emma's very presence is fixing the curse.
Mm-hmm. There's some magic stuff.
So it's kind of just, ooh, metaphor, things are moving, the plot's getting in motion.
And then, like, everyone is like, oh, the clock's moving. That's nice.
Yes, we stand a government that actually fixes a major center point of the town.
I do love that the mayor, though, like, goes up and she's like, ugh.
That shouldn't happen.
It should be broken. Because we're in Maine, and things in Maine are broken.
Because government fixes things. And then we also see Granny's bed and breakfast is also Granny's diner.
Yeah, so I actually read some stuff about that. Originally, it was just supposed to be an inn, but the inn was, like, so far removed from the main street where they filmed the show. They were like, oh, we need to have something where people can eat.
So they're legit both running both locations, which are not attached to each other. I just want to get that clear.
I think like it's one of those implications where it's like, yeah, in universe they're attached, but they're not actually anywhere near each other.
Work. Once we get that, we go to Regina just reading a book. But like, are we really not supposed to know who she's reading? Not just a book, the fairy tale book.
The Once Upon a Time book.
And she's like going through. So we're seeing her read through the book, and she's like looking through as if like, does this book tell the future? That's kind of the
she like
impression
goes to the end of it,
and there's pages torn out. We see,
yeah, and it's like Henry's got it. Of course he does. Like,
of course,
he's a 30-year-old man and a 10-year-old
exactly. But like the way that she talks to him, she does talk like a legit concerned mother. So it's like, what is her? I'm sitting there seeing this like, what is her deal? Because you're sitting like, you approach this, and my thought is, well, she obviously went and got Henry on purpose because he's Emma's kid, but the way that she's talking to him does not really track with that, which I know we find out, spoilers, literally at the end of this episode.
Yeah,
but
it's that's one of the things I do really like about the show, because it's like, yes, this is like, she is a villain, but like they give her so many more, so much more capacity to be a full-rounded character.
And boy, does she take it later on. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, no.
The number of notes I have in here, like, she eats this scene.
Literally, I told you, she brings it to you every ball.
Every episode.
She just commits so hard to all the material that she gets, and I respect the hell out of her.
It's kind of like Venom, where like, no matter the quality of the writing, it's good because the actors make it good.
Right. No, absolutely.
But continuing on, that's where she realizes that the clock is moving because the chime starts going on. Mm-hmm. After it, she's like, this Emma bitch, what is she doing? And she visits Emma with a shit ton of apples.
Full basket of apples, and she says they're Honeycrisps. Those are Red Delicious.
That is exactly
Those
what
are
I
not
have.
Honeycrisp apples.
Absolutely. And then after that kind of made me wonder, like, where was the original place where they were living their fairy tale lives? Because like, it's all medieval European, like appearance in the flashbacks, but then it's only
something.
It's only 28 years later. So like, did they just skip to modern times, or was this somewhere in another world or something that came to, for some reason, America
and Maine.
Maine.
I will say, I'm not, and the reason I'm not going to tell you the answer is because you're onto something that
Good.
The show will get into more later.
I am glad that will happen. My next note asks if Regina is hungry because she is eating this scene. Then flash to the past, and the sword clangs into the wall like we were talking about last episode.
Yes, I was so
like we
excited.
were wanting.
Well, but it clangs into the wall of her castle that she like went to. I was actually, there's another thing later too that I was like, oh, they actually did like talk about that thing that we were like, yeah, how does that work?
So it somehow, in her teleporting, went through her.
Yeah. She turned into smoke. She brought the sword with her. It's her sword now. That's how villains work.
She brought the party with her is what she did.
Yeah, that's skate walk.
Absolutely. And also her cape. Can we talk about that cape?
Literally
it's amazing. I want it.
Wears.
I need it.
I love
everywhere. Then she's talking with the butler about meeting with her. It's got to get it from her. The pronoun game. My called shot at this point, Maleficent. 3 seconds later, called it.
Okay, so really quick, I'll stop there because this is Kristen Bauer Van Straten as Maleficent, who you probably know if you've seen True Blood as another 4-word name, Pamela Swinford de Beaufort. Who's like the one of the vampires who like runs the vampire bar and is like the most camp character in that show. I love her. She's so good.
I wish that she brought more of that here because she had like no presence.
I will say wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
They're not just gonna burn Maleficent, like it's Maleficent.
Good.
Like, that's not the last you will see of her. But, so she was on True Blood, and she's been on a ton of other shows, including George Lopez, Desperate Housewives. She was on Seinfeld as Jerry's date with Man Hands.
Oh.
That was her.
I watched so little Seinfeld, but I am aware of that specifically.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so outside of acting, she's an animal conservation activist. She worked with Leonardo DiCaprio and the Animal Legal Defense Fund to work to get a Siberian Bengal tiger that was caged at a Louisiana gas station as a tourist attraction to get released. So, like, she's doing that work. Love that. Appreciate that. Like, that's really cool.
She is that bitch, Carol Baskin.
So she's also currently hosting a podcast that is a True Blood recap podcast with Deborah Ann Wool, who was also on the show. It's called Truest Blood.
Oh, yes.
And she said she enjoyed working with Lana Parrilla, who plays the Evil Queen, in this episode so much that when her old show True Blood was over, she told her manager to reach out to the creators of Once Upon a Time to let them know that she was available to come back.
I love that.
Yeah, so she's delightful, but yeah, she doesn't really have too much in this episode.
Okay.
Like, I honestly, from my perspective, after watching the show the first time, I actually forgot she came in this early.
Oh, really?
Because this is not the Maleficent that, like, you know from culture. And like,
I was expecting so much more because I've been listening to Kingdom Smarts, and every time Maleficent appears,
Maleficent and Pete.
Yes, but Maleficent does what Regina does here. She's presence. She is camp. She is eating everything.
Yeah. This Maleficent is not that, but she does have a unicorn, and we love that for her.
Does she get a better outfit? Because that is something else I noted.
Oh yeah, no. This is not Maleficent.
Okay.
You will see Maleficent later in the show.
Good. Then we do see them get into a CGI magic fight, which has all of the... I mean...
The chandelier falls.
Is it camp? Like, I can't tell because...
The chandelier falls and Regina, like, makes it into, like, bands that wrap around Maleficent.
Yep.
But it's, like, obviously they didn't use the actual, like, restraints, so it's, like, very clearly CGI'd on
She's just standing there, like, stiff.
Delivering the hell out of those lines, but...
Yes. And we learn about the curse that the queen has come to retrieve from her. Because I guess the evil queen didn't make the curse. They traded curses.
She got the curse from someone.
Curses are items that you get, I guess, which are not magic. Like, it's a little bit of a weird thing.
Just wait. The show goes very in the reads about how magic works.
Okay.
There's also a big... plot point of this episode is magic always comes at a price.
Yes.
And that will continue to be repeated throughout the show.
Whoever did make this, they say, is super evil. Quoting, whoever did make this makes us look positively moral.
And they have a nice little kiki about it.
Let's have a kiki.
After they have their CGI witch fight... And
Regina
queen
almost gets rid of the unicorn, and that's what
Yeah.
gets Maleficent to be like, no!
After that is when we see the evil queen standing in a ring of people. I note there's the evil queen, her butler, asking if he's supposed to have a name at this point, which we do find out more later. There is the Black Knight, and then 2 Black Knights, but this one has a small chest. The same one that was supposed to have Snow White's heart. And then
those are like the Black Knight. Those are just like her toady knights. Like they're faceless. They don't have like they're very couture costume with like their little ruffle hat.
So is the Black Knight a separate character, or is it just like all of her like minions are the Black Knight, just minion?
To be honest with you, I do not remember if the Black Knight is a character.
Okay.
Very well could be.
Okay.
But yeah, no, they're just her knights that literally have masks over their faces,
Gotcha.
so you don't see the extras that they keep reusing.
And the chest, I was guessing that it had a heart in it because it's probably the same thing that was given to get Snow White's heart.
I did have to, one of my notes that I took, you missed, there was the blind witch, and there was also this like gnome guy.
I'm getting in there. I'm getting in there.
Okay, cool.
Yep. There was also the evil dwarf, which is just later in the episode they credit him as just gnome.
My note about him was he reminded, like when he was like cowering, it reminded me of the Body Rolls video.
Oh my god, yes.
That's all.
Oh my god, I didn't get that until right now. I see it.
Because it's a guy in a gnome costume on a green screen. That's the Body Rolls video.
High kick, high kick. We also see the old hag. I was just trying to guess that maybe it's the witch from Hansel and Gretel, but her eyes are stitched shut. And later in the episode, at the end, they credit her as just blind witch, so probably not. There is also literal Satan with red skin and horns and just wearing a black robe.
She has her brunch group is pretty interesting.
Sounds fun. There is mischievous imp, not Rumpelstiltskin. I wrote down, lol, maybe it's Mr. Mxyzptlk from DC Comics.
Oh, I don't.
Okay. He's a mischievous magical creature that just exists to mess around with Superman.
Oh, yeah, that tracks.
So, not serious guess. There was a giant, so maybe Jack and the Beanstalk, but they, at the end of the episode, credited him as just Ogre.
Yes.
So
ogres are another recurring thing that is built into the lore of the show. Not Shrek.
None of them are, like, actual characters that we're supposed to recognize from specific fairy tales.
In my memory, no, but I could be wrong on that.
She uses some of their hair to start the curse, along with throwing in a bundle of sticks, which we can just make a joke about.
We're in America. We're not in England. We can't make a joke about that, Seth.
Well, watching this, we don't know where they are. They could not be not in America.
No, but we are in America.
You know, I didn't make the joke. I just said that they are implicitly. And then she throws in the heart of her dead horse and says, "End to our misery and move to a better realm." But I thought we were supposed to go someplace horrible.
Maine.
Visit Maine.com.
And then also, like, everything about this scene. They were just on a green set.
Welcome to the show.
There was not even, like, the actors were the only things they knew to interact with. Everything in the background, everything below their feet, CGI. They did not know if they were going to be standing on a cliff or in a basement. Nope, just a green box is what they were in.
Mm-hmm.
Then she turns the gnome to stone, keeps it in her garden, like the petty
her
bitch we
Maine.
want. Yes.
Like, I love the scene transition where it's like she like freezes the gnome into stone, and then it like goes to Storybrooke, and he's just there's a horrified looking garden gnome just next to her apple tree in a suburb of Maine.
As you do. Everyone needs gothic horrifying couture.
Yes, she brings it to us every ball. fall. What do you expect?
And while she is there tending to her tree in the modern day, we see someone approach who is probably the person that was in the magic mirror, who now runs the local newspaper,
Yes,
the Storybrooke Daily Mirror.
Which,
yeah,
lol. So I'll stop there. Do you know who that actor is?
no,
It's Giancarlo Esposito. He's in everything.
I know that name.
Breaking Bad.
Okay,
Better Call Saul. Like, he is the meth cooker in Breaking Bad.
I never watched.
Okay, like, I guarantee you've seen it. I have, like, so much stuff here from him.
Okay.
He's on so many stuff. Homicide: Life on the Street, The Boys, The Mandalorian, Dear White People, Godfather of Harlem. He was the villain in Far Cry 6, which was also modeled after him. Like, he's like a really big actor. So, like...
Hilariously, I have not seen any of those. I mean, that's part of also why we're doing this right now. I don't consume a lot of TV shows.
Yeah, no, but Giancarlo Esposito he's an incredible actor. He currently is voicing Lex Luthor in the HBO Max Harley Quinn show.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So he like gets around with work, which is good for him.
Yes, absolutely. He shows the story about Emma getting locked up due to being drunk and crashing into the sign. He's
with
like,
the worst mugshot I've ever seen.
Or best.
No. Oh, yeah, no. It's like fully on purpose, but it's a horrible mugshot.
She could fully just like put a fan in front of her and she's suddenly in a CW show.
I mean, they're one station away on network TV.
But he says that her past is locked up tight. And I'm like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so basically, he's got no info on her. And so, like, is that just because someone's been protecting her? Or is it because he's just actually terrible at her job? Or is it just that she's just boring? We'll never know.
You'll see.
Cut to Emma walking with Henry, and she's about to take a bite of the apple.
Oh, no,
and
you fully skipped over the diner scene, because I did have a note about that. Where, like, she goes to the diner, and Red is like rock on, skater girl.
And she gets the hot chocolate with cinnamon on it.
She thinks it's from the hot sheriff, but then it's actually her son. And my note was, the admirer fake out, get fucked. Like, she thinks like he's flirting and he's like, I didn't buy you anything. And then it cuts over to her kid like waving to her. Hi! I thought that was so funny.
Me and my kids saw you across the bar and we liked your vibe.
Absolutely not, Seth.
We bought you a hot chocolate with cinnamon on it.
Anyway, so then they're walking.
Then they're walking. She very pointedly doesn't get to eat the apple. Well, first, I think she was about to eat it when she goes to the diner, because I did get to the diner after making this note. So she doesn't eat the apple, diner, then they're walking, and Henry's like, where'd you get that? No. Grabs it from her and yeets it out of the frame.
This bitch poisoned.
Yes, exactly. He's just being a full-on truant, being like, hey... I know it's like 10:30, but you should walk me to school now.
What else can you say about a 30-year-old man who says, I don't need to be where I need to be. I need to be in a coffee shop right now.
Yes.
He's a 30-year-old man in a 10-year-old
He was hungover
spot.
last night. He got a late start.
He stayed up too late watching the clock go.
When they're talking about Regina. Oh,
sorry.
yes.
I had another note about that.
Yes.
Henry is too much of a 30-year-old writer. He already knows too much about the hero's journey.
Oh, yeah.
He knows.
Like, fully, explicitly is like, you're not supposed to believe at the start. And I know that. And it's like...
Stop lampshading, please.
He couldn't, like... He should be looking straight into the camera saying that.
Also, I did like that they actually did discuss, like, what happens to everyone. Like, it's like a haze of, like, the time not moving. Because that was something we talked about last time. We were like, do the kids not age? Do they not realize that
I missed
their
that.
classmate
Say that again.
Yeah, Henry says that the curse is, like, they don't remember every day. It's like a haze. So, like, they're living their daily life, but like they don't remember the specifics of it. So like they did actually be like, yeah, he has classmates, but they don't age, and he does, but like they don't notice because that's just magic.
I must have missed that while I was making a note.
I thought that was really interesting because I watched it the day after we recorded the last one, and it was very fresh on my mind.
Neat. They're walking and talk about Regina, and they're like, she's an elected official. How does she keep winning mayor? Well, she inspires fear. And it's like, well, I live in Chicago, so I kind of get that.
Got him!
Yeah. And he starts pointing out who some of the people are. And it's like, has he ID'd everyone? Does he know who everyone is? Or is he still, like, figuring that out and just the only people he knows are the main characters, cast, etc.? Like, how did he figure that out? That's the other thing.
Well, the book has pictures, like, some pictures that are clearly shots from the show that have had, like, a filter put over them.
Okay, but that's
It's
narrative
cute.
device
Yeah.
or, like...
Oh. Yeah, no, it is interesting how they did that, because apparently they always would film the fairy tale world stuff before they filmed the Storybrooke stuff. So, like, they would have that footage in the can for those transitions.
Gotcha.
Which I always thought was pretty clever.
They go to Archie, Jiminy Cricket, after she drops Henry off at school.
Breaking all kinds of ethical codes.
Absolutely.
Left and right.
Absolutely. Breaking all of that. He is not a very good therapist because he is giving away his file of notes, and all she had to do was ask, like, the privacy.
But as we find out, it was a setup. But he's breaking another ethical code.
Yeah.
By, like, setting up someone to get arrested?
That is sketch. For someone who's supposed to be a conscience, Archie specifically says destroying his imagination would be devastating.
And then what does happen at the end of the episode?
And then, he gives her Henry's file. So, like, all of his notes. So, like, she sees all of his notes about how crazy he is. Mm-hmm. And it's like, is his therapist encouraging her to destroy his life? Again, not very good. And then we find out it's a trap. He spills the beans right back to Regina.
Immediately.
And
then she immediately gets arrested by the sheriff.
Absolutely. And he cuffs her with her hands in front, meaning he's bad at his job. And he doesn't even beat her.
No, he likes her.
So are all cops? No.
Yes.
I did make the note, wow, elected officials using the police force to enact their desires, that's no fairy tale.
Ow!
So, yeah. And then they go to the police precinct, or not precinct, it's an office.
Yeah.
It's an office with a kitchenette. And like, she immediately gets bailed out.
Well, that's after Regina goes to Henry's school, and we see Snow White teaching the class, and
about the water cycle, which
specifically plants photosynthesizing.
Yes,
referring specifically to carbon dioxide and water synthesized. And it's like, when I learned about that, it was never that detailed. What kind of science is she teaching?
What can we say?
These grade schoolers?
They're all 35-year-old kids. What do you expect? They need advanced learning.
And when Regina does walk in to talk to Henry to tell him that Emma's been arrested, the girl next to Henry turns and has this look on her face of, this bitch again.
This
Regina,
happens every week.
Absolutely. Every day she comes in, interrupts everything.
I love it. She walks in. She's like, can I have a moment with my son? And Snow White says, we're in the middle of a lesson. And she just takes her son and walks away.
Like 2 feet. Like, not even far away.
Like, close enough that everyone there can hear. I feel so bad for him. He got embarrassed in front of all these 30-year-olds.
I mean, thankfully, they just don't remember anything.
I guess, yeah. I mean, no wonder he doesn't have any friends. They talk about Henry not having any friends. Why would he have friends? They don't remember anything, apparently.
No, they don't remember anything. Least of all is weird helicopter mom just coming in to ruin everything in life.
Oh, love her, though.
Then in the office that is the police station, Mary shows up to the police station with Henry, and they're bailing Emma out.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry wants to call their plan to free everyone from the curse
Operation Cobra.
which is like, sure, don't relate it to anything, but calling it something that unrelated is super sus.
The logic, for once, does make sense for a 10-year-old. He's like, oh, it's not a fairy tale thing, so she won't get it.
Yeah.
But it's like, the omission of it is explicitly weird.
Exactly. But after that, we see Regina in her office, which is...
her office. Oh, it's beautiful.
It's so great. It's
a pure monochrome moment.
Absolutely. Pure black and white. She's the only thing in color. And, like, that's great visual storytelling for her, because all of her flashbacks are like, no, I want my happiness. This is about me, my story, my fantasy. And, like, so she's the only thing in color, which really, like, this picture is her character. Period.
Yeah. The set designers and set dressers really do some fantastic, like, environmental storytelling. Like, especially in the storybook scenes, because there aren't actual sets for those.
Yes. CGI can't do everything. But you know who does something? Emma. She chainsaws that damn apple tree.
Direct action! My note is, Emma with the chainsaw is a direct action, and I support her. Going to the mayor's house, cutting a limb off her apple tree, looking her in the eye from the ground in her window, and says, your move, and then walks away.
And what? Well, like, this is legitimate arrestable material, as opposed to, like, setting up the thing with the files. No, this is something she could actually be arrested over. Next thing we see, though, we go back in time again, and it's the butler, and, like... The fact that at this point I'm thinking, well, they keep cutting to him. He has lines.
He's someone.
He's someone. What is he from?
You haven't seen him in Storybook yet.
Correct. And I'm like, at the moment, I'm like, who is this? Is this someone like Sleepy Hollow or something? Doubt it, but it's all I could think of at that moment. She has so many good lines, but like this scene in particular, what is there for me to head back to? Just like
makes a meal out of every scene.
Yes. Then she goes to see Rumpelstiltskin still in jail,
when she's a little mouse with an apple,
eating on the apple still, because she's got a theme. She's gonna stick with it. And so she makes an agreement with Rumpelstiltskin. He will tell her how she messed up the curse, and in exchange, in the new world, she will listen to anything that he says, as long as he says, please. And she's like, well, fine.
I don't know if it's that specific. I think the way he worded it was, I will come to you, and you will, like, there will be a day where I will come to you, and you have to do what I tell you. I think that was the wording.
Is it a day? Because we'll get to it later on, where he emphasizes the word please.
Okay. I might have missed that.
Okay. And like when we get to that point, I'll bring it back up.
Totally.
So talking about like, you'll do whatever I say as long as I say please. And she's like, well, you aren't going to remember anything of this. He's like, then what's the harm? He's like, yeah, sure.
She really thinks she got him too. She's like, okay, sure, yeah, I'll let you know. Like, you don't fuck with Rumpelstiltskin, he will get you.
Yeah, like I said on the, was it episode 0, where you asked me about him, and I'm like, he seems to be very play both sides. He's just out for himself. And that seems to be a good call, apparently.
Yeah.
Regina talks about how what she loves most died because of Snow White. So
put a pin in that.
Something specific happened there. Back in the present time, Emma has to get kicked out of Granny's bed and breakfast because they don't allow felons.
Which is a brand new ordinance that just showed up.
Absolutely. And I know last time I noticed that the key was, like, this room is the only one that had a big old-timey key.
Yeah.
Also, the key tag has this big ornate swan on it. Emma Swan. Hey, we see you. go outside, see the boot on the car. Regina says, drive over to my office. Or walk, whichever.
She just makes a meal of a phone call.
Even when she's not in a scene, she does the thing.
She makes it work.
Regina apologized to Emma. Henry overhears Emma say that he's cray-cray.
Yeah, this
and
moment
then Regina's
where she's like, he thinks everyone's a fairy tale character, and then Henry walks in, and you see the look on Regina's face is like, I got you, bitch.
Yeah, she is faded in the background behind the focus on Emma. She is fuzzy, and you can see
the smirk. Yeah, you can see the smug look that she's like, I win. You lose.
After that, we find out back in the past that the butler is her daddy. Mm-hmm. Still no name. She only calls him daddy. So the thing that was missing from the curse is that she didn't kill something she really loved. And so...
What does she do?
She murders daddy.
Rips his heart out and then smiles.
Yeah.
And cries at the same time. She's incredible.
Evil Queen is acting the shit out of this scene.
They give her such good material.
She is. Ooh, I can be happy, just not here.
Oh, love it.
So then Emma with Mary at Mary's place.
Which, I love that apartment. The exposed brick.
It's so kitschy.
Right? I mean, that's Snow White's apartment. Come on.
It's very cottage, very Maine. Very, yes. And then we, again, get hot chocolate with cinnamon on top.
That's how you know she's a good person.
Apparently taste just runs in the family. Mm-hmm. Because all the way through, grandmother, mother, child, all do it. And then Snow White says, I think the fact that you want to leave is why you have to stay. And I'm like, okay, sure, bend over backwards to make that logic work more. Who will protect Henry if you won't? And it's like, maybe his actual adopted mother. She is a little bit of a bitch, but she does seem to care for him.
As a teacher... Snow White, she really overextends her what is ethically right, I think.
Everyone in this town does.
Yeah, well, it's like they're all the heroes or villains, so they're all, like, you have this big consolidation of, like, all these, like, major characters. You're gonna get drama, and that's why this is a fun show.
Speaking of drama, Emma just barges right in to the therapy session. Oh my god, this terrible doctor he lets her come in.
He's just like, oh yeah, come in.
And he's fine with it. And then on top of that, Emma plays up his delusions and possible psychosis. Mm-hmm. Be like,
but then she like does it with like a wink.
And she's like, yeah, no, it's totally... I had to pretend that it wasn't real. But we both know it's totally real, the curse.
Yeah, Emma, full stop, still does not believe Henry. Like, she's like still doing that, oh, yeah, sure.
And she's just playing into it. That's not how you raise a healthy child.
Well, she gave him up.
It's a good thing she did, because she doesn't know how to raise a child. Clearly.
She's 28 years old with a very fancy apartment in Boston.
And then finally we get to Rumpelstiltskin, Mr. Gold, talking to Regina.
Oh,
and this is the reveal that answered some of my questions at the start of the episode. Mm-hmm. He's the one that found Henry for Regina to adopt. Because, like, at first I was like, well, she obviously adopted him because he's Emma's kid, but she didn't know. She has no idea the connection between anything. So...
he's a schemer, what can I say? Also, this scene with these two villains just, like, firing on all cylinders of, like, dripping this text.
The entire background fades away.
Yeah, no, it's an incredibly acted scene because the two of them are just eating the scene, just like raw out of their hands. I love it.
And so this is where, like, after he does the almost reveal of, do I remember everything? I'll never tell. You'll let me go. And why should I? Please.
Yeah.
That's where he emphasizes
Yeah.
the word and just walks right by.
He literally just walked over to fuck with her, and then he takes an apple off the tree, takes a bite, throws it on the ground, and walks away.
And the look of shock on Regina's face as he
it's
does
delicious.
that. And
She that's the moment where she's like, oh, I fucked up. I really fucked up.
And I think it's right after this is when we find out that
It's like when she actually does the curse.
yes,
The
we
name
find out
of her father.
her father's name is Henry. So
Because you see his gravestone.
Yep.
Metal as hell.
So the Henry is supposed to be her replacement for her father. So Emma's going to presumably over the course of the series get him back, and Snow White's family is going to rip what Regina loves away from her again. Ooh.
Oh yeah. To be continued.
Oh boy.
So the next episode of the show is called Snow Falls. What do you think? Just make some calls. The next episode is called Snow Falls. Next episode is called Snow Falls. What do you think? Just make some calls. What do you think? Just make some calls.
I mean, Snow White, we've got Snow White is going to be front and center this episode. So, like, the things that she is going to have to encounter and deal with is possible discovery of her relationship to Emma, or more likely is going to be exploration of her and John Doe / Prince Charming.
Well, I mean, this is a freebie. I did tell you that the scene with him in the hospital was originally supposed to be in the third episode.
Yes, I did remember that.
Any other takes before we head out?
I do wonder if Henry is supposed to be somebody that we know, or if he's just Emma's kid, grandchild of Snow White.
I will tell. I mean, he is just
Okay.
from my memory. I could be wrong. He is not a character. He is just the grandson of Snow White and Prince Charming,
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
and a 30-year-old man,
And a 30-year-old writer in a child's body. I'm not really sure where things are going to go. They're going to have to resolve figuring out who everyone is. And there's the big bad wolf. And, like, which big bad wolf? Is it the Red Riding Hood one or the Three Little Pigs one? And there was
The Three Little Pigs is the gay bar in Storybrooke.
Oh, yes. Let's go visit.
I want that to be true so much.
Yeah, that's my call.
Solid. No, it's a good call. So yeah, we will see all of you next time for episode 3, Snow Falls.
Thank you very much for joining us. You can talk to us online on socials. You can find me, Seth, at Recycled Sarcasm.
And you can find me, Bob, at on Twitter, at The Kid Ain't Right. You can also follow the show on Instagram and Twitter at Not Even Once Pod. And you can also, from those social sites, join our Discord and talk to us about the show and any other things that you would like to about Once Upon a Time, and anything else if you want.
And you can find the link to our Discord by going to our Twitter bio. You can find the link to our link tree with all relevant links there.
Thank you again so much for listening. This is Bob.
And this is Seth.